Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, one of the fights that I missed that I want to cover, that I need to cover because I'm a very big fan of this fighter. I love watching him fight. Really interested in what goes on with his career. Is none other than the WBO flyweight champion Kosei Tanaka. Now, Kosei Tanaka, he recently, in his most recent bout, he took on the Puerto Rican Jonathan Gonzalez. This fight took place on August 24th. This was, in fact, the second defense of his flyweight title, and honestly, or I should say, flyweight title. It was the second defense of his flyweight title, and Jonathan Gonzalez was a tricky fighter. Jonathan Gonzalez has been in there with some good fighters. He's someone that has good boxing skills. He's not really known for his punching power. Has always been known to be a guy that you can break down and stop, but nonetheless, a good fighter, and on his night can give some of the top fighters in the division some fits, and that's exactly what he did to Kosei Tanaka. I mean, his southpaw stance, the speed of his feet, the placement of his punches. He's even a bit awkward. He's very elusive. It proved to be a bit of a challenge for Tanaka. Tanaka in this fight had to show that extra bit of quality that has people pegging him as the guy at flyweight right now. And just to give you guys my little a breakdown of this fight for those of you who watched it or didn't watch it. This is how it went. So in round one, Jonathan Gonzalez came out fighting at a solid pace, a good pace, not like a frenetic pace, not a fast pace, but a good pace that worked for him. Picking his spots, when to punch, when to rest, when to move. And he walked Tanaka into a couple of solid straight left hands. And you could see in that first round, Tanaka was still trying to figure him out. And that was a clear Gonzalez round. Tanaka, from the out, even in the rounds he was losing, you could see that he had a clear advantage in hand speed. But early on in the fight, Gonzalez was the one placing his punches a lot better through the first two rounds. So heading into going into the next round, Tanaka was still trying to figure out the awkward and elusive Gonzalez. Got caught again with a couple of flush left hands, and so far Gonzalez had set him a good pace for himself, set the tone for a good fight. The fact that he wasn't going to lay down and just be another victim to Kosei Tanaka, and that he was here to win. He was a live dog. He was a game opponent. So then, what wound up happening was Tanaka began to find the range with pot shots. He began to pot shot a lot. The best way to slow down a guy with quick legs that you're not trying to close the gap on is to pot shot him. Punch him to the body. So you pot shot him. He was throwing the right hand to the body, and it slowed him down. And he threw enough pot shots, and he landed enough to where he actually dropped him. Gonzalez took a knee, and it was a 10-8 round. So he made it for all the rounds he lost early on, just that one knockdown. All right. So then going into the next round, Gonzalez lands. He kind of cuffed one of his punches on the top of the head of Kosei Tanaka, and it could have been ruled a slip. Maybe it wouldn't have been ruled a knockdown. They ruled it a knockdown, so it was a 10-8 round for him. So through 4 rounds, Gonzalez was winning this fight by 2 points. I had him up by 2 points. Heading into that 5th round, and in that 5th round, Gonzalez had probably boxed his best round of the fight to that point. Of the whole fight in general, round 5 was Gonzalez's best round. It was a round where I feel like he showed superior ring generalship. When he was in the corner, he would punch, spin out, gets back to the center of the ring. At mid-range, he was killing Tanaka with just excellently placed, well-timed combination punches. Moving really well. It was a round that I feel like when you look at this fight and you say, what are the things Jonathan Gonzalez does well, you can look at you can use round 5 as a good outline of what he does well in the ring. Now, even though he was landing a lot of punches and they were flush and they were coming at a good speed and he was placing them real well, they didn't really seem to have an effect on Tanaka. They didn't really seem to bother him. If you look at his career, he's had about 23 fights. He only has like 13 stoppages, so he's not known for his punching power. And I think his punching power, or lack thereof punching power, it hurt him in this fight. And round 6, Tanaka was still getting outboxed. Gonzalez was still landing some good shots, still placing them real well. They weren't having an effect on Tanaka, but what happened in round 6 was Tanaka was beginning to find that body a lot more. He landed some really solid body shots. There was no knockdowns. There was no, nothing crazy happened in the 6th round. But he was landing the punches to the body, and they were beginning to have an effect on Jonathan Gonzalez. I could see that because my eyes are trained. I know what I'm watching. And it set up what was a monstrous round 7. Tanaka lands 3 knockdowns in that round. And it was a devastating and concentrated attack to the body. He just kept going back down the well over and over and over again. And he just kept feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. Left hooks, right hooks, straight rights to the body, right hands up top of the head. And eventually, once he had him hurt, he finished him. And he showed why he is, right now, the consensus #1 man in the flyweight division. So it was a good performance from Tanaka. I don't think it's going to be one of those performances where I go back and I watch it and I say, wow, I had to go back and watch that Tanaka fight because it was such a great performance. It wasn't his best performance, but he showed that against a style that was a bit difficult for him, that he can make the adjustments, that he can remain composed, that he can stick to his game plan, and that he can, just land the devastating punches and finish him when the time came, and that's exactly what he did this fight. So now the question is, what does Tanaka do moving forward in his career from here? I mean, he's the WBO champion. He's the consensus #1 fighter at flyweight at the moment, but he only has 1 belt. So naturally, there should be some requests for unification fights. Right now the other champions in the division are Charlie Edwards, who just had a tough fight, Artem Dalakian, who I think would be a good fight for him, and Morty Mathalane from South Africa. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but 38-2, 25 KOs. He's the IBO champion. Personally, I don't know much about that South African champion, but I have seen Charlie Edwards fight. I do know about Artem Dalakian. I think Tanaka would absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, spark, ice, and dismantle Charlie Edwards. And I don't think Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Matchroom Boxing have any intentions of putting Charlie Edwards in there with Tanaka. Tanaka will obliterate him in devastating fashion. I think they probably look to go more the Kelly Fire route, as that's a big domestic fight. So fair play to them. But I think he should try to unify with Artem Dalakian. Dalakian's a good fighter, undefeated, solid punching power. Go that route, go that route. And if you're not gonna go try to unify any of the titles in the division, then I'm not gonna lie to you, I would love to see Tanaka go up there to 115, because up at 115, there's some truly great matchups up there available for him if he wants to go that route. I mean, you have the likes of Jerwin and Cajas, you have the likes of Cal Yafai, you have the likes of Casasoto Ioka, Donan Nietes, Rong Vasai, Juan Francisco Estrada, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. I mean, there are some really good matchups up there at 115 for Tanaka. So wherever he wants to go, I'm all for it. Tanaka's a talented fighter. He's beaten some good fighters already on the way up. This is a guy in Tanaka who, if we look at his career thus far, he's already become a 3-division champion, winning titles at minimum weight, light flyweight, and defended the belts against good competition in all those weight classes. So he's definitely someone that would be on my pound for pound list, despite the fact that this was not his best performance. But that's actually the mark of a good fighter. How can you get the job done on nights where you're not at your best? And I think tonight in that fight, he showed that he can get the job done when he's not at his best, or when he's fighting a guy whose style isn't favorable towards his. So just overall good performance by Tanaka. Looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you want to see Tanaka do next? Personally, I think he should either try to unify with Artem Dalakian or move with 115 and challenge himself up there, because that's where the true challenges will be. But we'll see. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, like I say in every single one of these videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.